Welcome to today's video where I'm going to be featuring the Beaute Smoky Glam eyeshadow palette, which was sent to me by the brand, so thank you so much for sending it over so I could try it out. Now, I had previously tried out their pastel garden palette, which I very much enjoyed. The shimmers were absolutely spectacular and it was such a fun and colorful palette, and this one is more of a neutral palette with definitely a couple of pops here and there. You kind of have a little bit of everything and the shimmers just look so beautiful. I love all the tones in here. I'm usually not into larger palettes, but this palette and the pastel palette really capture my attention because I think that for being such a large palette, I like the assortment of colors. Now, of course, it could have been cut down, it could have been made into two palettes, but I think it's meant to be a well-rounded neutral palette. So let's get right into the three looks and then I'll give you some of my thoughts at the end of the video. For the first look, I dipped into Baby Doll and I'm putting that right into the crease with a really small blending brush. Next, I'm putting a Love Bug right into the crease, and then I'm also going to be putting it into the outer corner to just deepen this up. So far between the two mattes, I can tell that these are a bit more on the layerable side. And then I'm also bringing Love Bug underneath my lower lash line, and then I'm going in with Cuddles to finish off the rest of my lower lash line. And for the shimmers, I'm first going in with Velvet Crush on my pinky. I'm just applying it with my finger. And the shade is absolutely stunning. And for the inner portion of my lid, I'm going in with Playful and then taking Milk Bath on the inner corner. And here's the first finished look. The second look, I'm going in with Cuffs right into the crease, and I'm putting that first into the center of my lid. I'm using Clay Dreaming to blend that out further up into my crease, and also blending the edges of that. Taking Overcast onto the inner and outer corner with my trusty Makeup Geek T63 brush, just kind of placing it down first and then working it outwards. And I'm layering on a little bit more Overcast. For the shimmer in the center, I'm going in with Romantic on a small toothier brush. And I wanted to see what if I applied it with my finger over it to see if I could amp it up. And it definitely did help. But of course, you can leave it like that. And then I'm going in with Gunmetal as the inner corner highlight. Just going in really lightly with a toothier, smaller brush. I believe this one's from Lunar Beauty. So I want to deepen this up even more. So I went in with the smallest little pencil brush and smoked out just kind of closer to my lash line on my lid. And here's the second finished look. For the third and final look, I'm going in with Cuffs in the inner corner. I actually did this like an hour ago and now I don't remember fully which shadows I used, but I believe it was this one, and then I think I dipped into Hypnotic. Just a little bit up here, yes. And then I know on the outer portion I used Silk Teddy to deepen it up. And then I used Cuddles to blend that out. Just a little bit more. And then I'm gonna wipe off my brush and go in with some just setting powder on the edges of that. And taking Silk Teddy on the bottom lash line, and I'm just gonna connect with the outer corner just a little bit. I don't want to bring it in too far. And I'm going to try out the Beaute Shimmer Stay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. This one has quite a bit of a large doe foot. I did not use a shimmer primer on this eye. And I'm just going to put on the smallest amount. Quite a bit came off, but I'm just going to tap it on, make sure there's not too much. And I picked up Bombshell. And it's just going to go, all over. I honestly think I prefer this versus this. It just in person, I can tell a little bit of a difference there. So I'm going to pick it up with my finger and put it on with my finger. And I think that just helped even more. But still, I just feel like it looks a little different on this eye. If anything, it looks smoother on this eye. But I don't know, it just looks shinier on this eye. Let me know in the comments below if you can tell a difference. Here's the third and final finished look. But I absolutely love the tones in here. I think there's a really nice variety, and I just feel really inspired to use this one. This will be a great just neutral all around eyeshadow to own if you don't have already many, or if you don't have all these tones, or if you just want a palette that contains like all these tones together, just so it's like easier to reach for. There is quite a bit of pans, and I know that is not for everyone, including me usually, but this one I'm really enjoying, and I like that the pans are at least smaller. The mattes perform beautifully, and I'm happy to have tried out some deeper toned mattes from them. You just never know how the formula is going to vary depending on the tone of the shadow, the color of the shadow. I do feel like these two are pretty redundant. This black has sparkles in it. I have no use for a shade like this. The sparkles will just blend away, or you can pack it on and keep the sparkles on. I think the main difference is that sparkle, so I do feel like this shade is a little redundant. If any, the tone is just a little bit, it's almost like a charcoal gray black versus like a true black, except with sparkles in it. I haven't tried all the mattes, but I did try quite a few of the mattes, and I didn't have any issues with those. Now let's talk about the shimmers. There are no super squishy shimmers, but these do have a slightly like thicker, almost a little bit of a waxy formula, especially this kind of shade. Meanwhile, these down here, they do still feel a little on the thicker side, but they have a little bit of a different feel to them. I don't really know exactly how to explain it, but you can kind of see these are a bit more smooth. And these two shades are also quite similar. I think there's like a difference in tone, a very slight difference in tone, but if you were to use these on the lid next to each other, you would not be able to tell a difference. So it would have been nice to see taupey green shimmer, kind of like this tone right here. I feel like this one is almost there, but maybe just a little bit more green, and it would have really set it apart from this one. The shimmers are beautiful. I use my fingers for the most part. I just feel like these kinds of shimmer shadows really just help when you use a finger. For me personally, I know not everybody likes to use fingers. I usually don't either, but I'm really used to it now, and I actually prefer it because I feel like I have, while I don't have control as much to like placement exactly, I kind of like that. I kind of like the shimmer kind of blending up a little bit into my crease because it's going to end up in there anyways. And then there's this one shade right here, this one. It's definitely a dupe to the Glam Shop Virtual Pink, as well as some other shadows. I have a whole comparison video dedicated to these kinds of shades, and I feel like this one is for sure a dupe. And I love that this one is in here. It's a little bit sheer, so it's just going to be really fun to layer on top of some of these other mid-tone and deeper mattes. Velvet Crush and Satin Sheets have like lots of little sparkles throughout it, which is super fun and just makes it a little bit more dimensional. I'm going to let you know how this is working out for me, but so far I'm not really sure if you need a primer. I don't feel like you're gonna have fallout with these shimmers. They're not the types of shimmers that are more textured and maybe a little flaky. Also, I would just try them out without a primer, see how it wears. If it doesn't wear well, then you can use any sort of tacky primer of your preference with them. I applied this eye actually about an hour, two-ish almost ago, and I didn't use any sort of a tacky primer. I just went in with my finger, and so far it's looking really nice, and it's still really shiny, and I'm having no fallout. Obviously, it's not a full wear test, but I do planning on using this palette next week and wearing it into the office, so I will keep you updated if I'm having any sort of crazy creasing issues or something like that. So those are my thoughts on this palette. I'm so far really impressed with Bella Beaute Bar. I think that they're creating some really beautiful eyeshadow palettes. I can't wait to see what's next. So let me know in the comments below what you thought of these looks, which look is your favorite, and if you picked this palette up or if you plan on picking it up. I would love to hear your thoughts, and that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.